everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Zara and today I'm going to be starting off a new video series. Well, it's not technically new because I actually did a video very similar, I think like over a year ago, and this is the Why You Should Read series. Now I did a video on First Law, like why you should read First Law. I did a video on why you should read The Three Musketeers, and this is a series really focusing on books and authors that I just absolutely love and think everybody should read. So today I am going to be doing why you should read John Williams, not the musician that I think a lot of people probably get confused about, but the author who has written books like Stoner, Butcher's Crossing and Augustus. Now I have read two of his books, and that is Butcher's Crossing and Stoner, and I absolutely loved both of them. They were both instant 5 stars. Both of them I still think about every single day. And I'm really excited to read Augustus later on this year. And I think he has another book called Nothing is the Night or something like that, which I will definitely read as well. But I wanted to do this video now because I feel like once you've read a few books of an author, you can generally get a good sense of whether they are for you. And John Williams is 100% an author that is for me. Now I'm going to tell you why you should read him though, if you haven't. He's getting a lot of very well-deserved hype at the moment on BookTube, and I think that's fantastic because I think he's so underrated, like such an underrated author. So without further ado, I am now going to give you a few reasons as to why you should read John Williams. Now the first reason why you should read John Williams is because of his beautiful prose. He has this wonderful way of making his stories feel very real, very vivid. And even though they're just about normal people living their lives and exploring different parts of their lives, it makes, I don't know, there's something very magical about his books. I don't know quite what it is, but they feel very surreal in a way, but very grounded at the same time. It's a paradox, I know, but trust me, like they feel very surreal, but they feel very grounded. Like I can't really, I don't know how else to frame it other than that. The way that he describes certain aspects of his world. I'll give an example in Butcher's Crossing when he talks about the plains, when the characters go on their journey. Absolutely phenomenal, like so breathtaking. Like you really get a good sense of what this place is like. And I just think he just has a really beautiful way of creating imagery that I just don't think many authors do, at least not today. I think he's one of the like OGs at this, but many people don't even know that because they haven't read his books, which is such a shame. He also does dialogue really well. Like I think his character interactions are probably some of my most favourite character interactions. Whether it's Stoner talking to his wife or his friend or his daughter, whether it's Andrews talking to his little crew, his motley crew on the adventure that they go on. Like those are the moments that really are telling and that really focus on humanity and how we build connection and how we build community. And I just think he is just the best at that. Like he's just the best at it. His writing, I wouldn't say is particularly complex. I think it's quite sophisticated, but in a very simple, readable, enjoyable way. If you are somebody who's scared of classics and you're worried about dense text and flowery prose and all of this, John Williams is not that. It's very precise, but like he creates imagery in a way that serves the story, and it's just not there for the sake of it, and just it's not there to just waste words. Like it has a purpose. His scenery often is a character in itself. I'm thinking specifically of Butcher's Crossing. It's such a like living, breathing part of the book, and you really feel that desire to go and see it as well, which I most certainly did. I can't remember where Butcher's Crossing is based, but I think it might be Kansas. And Kansas, from what I understand, is like pretty flat, and there's like lots of plains and like farmland from what I understand, and like he captures that so well. And one day I would like to go and see it. I can imagine to some people it's probably quite boring, but I don't know, there's something quite nice about just seeing like rolling plains. I think it's the British part of me who's saying that. The next reason why you should read John Williams is because of the relatable characters. Characters are the most important thing to me. I don't have to have tons of plot. I don't really care about plot most of the time. The plot becomes important when the characters are average or below average. That's when I care about the plot. If the characters are standout and they're well developed, they have motivations, they're interesting, compelling, relatable. They don't have to be the hero. They don't have to be even the villain. I like characters somewhere in the middle where we feel conflicted about them, because ultimately that's what humans are. We're all somewhere in the middle. I don't think there's many people that I know personally that are like really 100% evil or really 100% good. We're all on a spectrum, and I think he is the author most that captures that concept of a morally grey character, because they're just real people living their lives trying to do the best that they possibly can. And I'll talk about the two characters that I've read. I really love William Stoner in Stoner, because he's such a conflicting character for me. I've mentioned this before. I think Stoner is somebody that I definitely relate to, but he's so different to me as a person that he's almost a version of myself that I just wouldn't want to be. He's quite passive in his life. He's quite, I don't know, he feels disconnected. And I find him to be quite apathetic as well. And he's quite a sad character in that way. And I think that book almost in a way is a tragedy, but it's like a quiet tragedy. The other character is William Andrews in Butcher's Crossing. They do both have the same first name, which I actually just realised now. And I think out of the two characters, I definitely identify more with William Andrews. I'm just going to call him Andrews from now on, because he's a young man who was set on a very specific path, full of life, full of desire to do well and to be a certain type of person. And he doesn't want to get comfortable. He's almost the antithesis of Stoner in that way. Stoner likes being comfortable. He likes not rocking the boat. Andrews wants to change things because he feels like his life isn't going in the way that he wants it to go. And his life is going in the direction of, you go to a good university, you go and get a good job, and you get married. Like, it's the very standard life that society expects of us. You know, we go get an education, get a job, get married, have a family, and then like you retire and then you die. Like, that's what is expected of most people in most cultures. He doesn't want the life that is expected of him. So he decides to go on an adventure, and it changes him forever. And it changed me as well reading it, because he has these really profound moments of realization, and it's just really beautifully told, and it's told in a way that I think is very accessible and very philosophical. I feel like a lot of philosophy in fiction can feel very out of place or quite cheesy, but John Williams never ever writes in a way that feels cheesy. It speaks to my soul, basically, and not many authors can do that, like, genuinely. The other thing I'll mention on characters is that the surrounding cast of characters for both of the books that I've read also feel equally fleshed out. You get who they are, why they're there, where they've come from, what they want. And that's what I want. You know, I want to know who these people are, and ultimately what is the thing that motivates them. And we get that for every single side character, I think, in both books. And I'm sure the same applies to Augustus as well. The next thing I'm going to talk about as to why you should read John Williams is the meaningful thematic work. The thematic work is, I've obviously massively alluded to it already, but it's just about people living their lives and just trying to be the best version of themselves. Or not even the best version of themselves, just trying to live, just trying to survive. And with Butcher's Crossing, I think it's really about finding a higher purpose, finding a meaningful life, trying to live the best life that they can, putting ourselves out of our comfort zone. Whereas I think Stoner is more about the mundane aspects of life, and about how living life can just be about living through the motions and not really experiencing it. Like, you can live life and not experience it, right? Like, I definitely have met people who are just going through the motions of life, but are they really experiencing life? Probably not. And I feel like that's what Stoner is I've almost seen it as a cautionary tale to myself as to what would happen if I kind of became quite apathetic to the world. And that's why I always try to, I don't even try, I think it's just who I am. Like, I definitely look at the world slightly differently to Stoner. I see a version of myself, and I think everybody could see a version of themselves that could be like that. And that's not a version that I want to be. Like, I don't want to just live through life. I want to actually experience it and enjoy it through all the highs and lows that we inevitably get. I'm now going to read two quotes. I'm going to read one from Stoner, and I'm going to read one from Butcher's Crossing that I think sum up each book. And I think if these quotes even remotely resonate with you, then you should read him and check him out. So I'll start off with Butcher's Crossing. Young people, MacDonald said contemptuously. You always think there's something to find out. Yes, sir, Andrew said. Well, there's nothing, MacDonald said. You get born and you nurse on lies, and you get weaned on lies, and you learn fancier lies in school. You live all your life on lies, and then maybe when you're ready to die, it comes to you that there's nothing but yourself and what you could have done. Only you ain't done it because the lies told you there was something else. Then you know you could have had the world because you're the only one that knows the secret. Only then it's too late. You're too old. All right, and then we have the Stoner quote. This is probably one of my favourite quotes of all time. He had come to that moment in his age when there occurred to him, with increasing intensity, a question of such overwhelming simplicity that he had no means to face it. He found himself wondering if his life was worth the living, if it had ever been. It was a question, he suspected, that came to all men at one time or another. He wondered if it came to them with such impersonal force as it came to him. The question brought with it sadness, but it was a general sadness, which he thought had little to do with himself or with his particular fate. He was not even sure that the question sprang from the most immediate and obvious causes, from what his own life had become. It came, he believed, from the accretion of his years, from the density of accident and circumstance, and from what he had come to understand of them. He took a grim and ironic pleasure from the possibility that what little learning he had managed to acquire had led him to this knowledge, that in the long run all things, even the learning that let him know this, were futile and empty, and at last diminished into a nothingness they did not alter. And there we have it. This is why you should read John Williams. You should read John Williams if you like good writing, good dialogue, good world building, exceptional characters, incredibly thematic, deeply philosophical work, then John Williams is for you. And if you liked, like I said, even a little bit of one of those two quotes or both of those quotes, you should check him out. Let me know if you've read John Williams and maybe put down a favourite quote of yours or what is it that really shines for you. And I'll see you down in the comments, folks. Stay safe as always, take care, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.